Welcome to the Women in Wealth podcast, brought to you by Regina McCann-Hess, a certified financial planner with over 2 decades of experience. This show is for professional women who want guidance in working towards their retirement vision in learning, building, planning, striving for your dreams, and putting the work in now so that you can pursue your financial independence. So, did I hear correctly? If I wait a little longer, I can get more money out of Social Security? Oh, tell me more. Hi, I'm Regina McCann-Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management, and welcome to Women in Wealth. So April is Social Security month. Well, then that means I get to talk about Social Security, one of my favorite topics. And I love to get on my soapbox about Social Security, and that's because so many people do it wrong. There is a better way to approach Social Security and a better way to make sure you can maximize your benefit from Social Security if you just know how to do it or who to talk to get the right guidance on it. And it's a topic that's not only essential to financial planning, but it's one that I'm especially passionate about. I spend a significant amount of my time helping clients navigate Social Security decisions as part of their broader retirement strategies. So, what many people don't realize is that there are strategies that can significantly enhance your Social Security benefits, often adding thousands of dollars per year to someone's income. And over the course of retirement, that can translate into tens of thousands of dollars. These strategies are particularly important when you're, really relying on Social Security as your main income stream in retirement. It wasn't really intended to be that, but it has become that for a lot of people. So we're going to dive into some of the Social Security basics, like what's the calculation? That's one of the things that many people don't even understand. How do they even calculate my Social Security? Well, it's behind the big, curtain, like in the Land of Oz, right? But there are some things that they do tell us. So in order to qualify for Social Security benefits, you have to work at least 40 quarters to be eligible for Social Security. 40 quarters, 10 years, we can do that math, right? So 40 quarters. You also they're going to calculate it based on your average 35 highest earning years. So yeah, when you were, 19 and worked at the, pizza joint, they're probably not pulling those numbers into your Social Security benefit to calculate what your benefit's going to be. It's more likely going to be the last 35 years because as we work and further into our careers, we make a little bit more money. And, that's where they're calculating the benefit from. The other thing that goes into it is when you decide to take your Social Security, that is definitely going to be a big factor in how they're calculating your benefit. And we're going to talk about that because that is one of my favorite things to talk about. So so that's one of the things that you have to learn. And also cost of living adjustments. Do you always get a cost of living adjustments? I don't think it's like consistent every single year. And certainly when you do get a cost of living adjustment, it is not going to be the same year to year. So in 2026, the cost of living adjustment was 2.8%. So if you were already on Social Security last year, you got a 2.8% raise, which is basically covering the inflation, right? So that is why they do that, is to give you like a little inflation kicker. And during COVID or post-COVID, really, when inflation was really, really crazy, we saw some of the highest cost of living adjustment raises for Social Security that we've seen, I think, in my lifetime. But maybe it was while I was alive, but wasn't paying attention. But certainly in the past couple decades, I think it's one of the highest increases that we received was post-COVID when everything was crazy expensive. Okay, so one of the other things that we want to talk about, and this is one of the things that I think is extremely important, is the age that you can take Social Security and the age that you should take your Social Security. Are they the same number? No, they're not. So buckle up. We're going to talk about it. A lot of people approach it as, oh, I'm eligible at age 62. So let's go. My money, I want it now. But that may not be the right approach. For some people, it may, but for most people, it may not be. So, yes, you can at age 62. That does not mean you should. So, the full retirement age for somebody born in 1960 or after is age 67. So that's really when you get 100% of your benefit. You get, if you're allotted a certain dollar amount, you're getting every dollar of that. But if you take it sooner than that, you're going to get a haircut. And that haircut is permanent. And that's what people don't really realize. Like they're taking it early and they're like, oh, yeah, I need the money, or, I can save the money, or whatever it is. But they don't realize that they're getting a permanent haircut on that payment. So, what do I mean by that? So if you're full, we're just going to assume that everyone's born in 1960 or after, because there are some people this year, their full retirement age is 66 and 10 months. They were born in like 1959. So we're just going to assume for ease of numbers, that our full retirement age is 67 and we're born in 1960 or after. So if I am age 67, I get 100% of my benefit. If I am age 62, I'm getting 30% cut of my benefit. So instead of 100% of my benefit, I'm getting 70% of my benefit. And that is not really cool. So let's talk about that. What does that mean? Like, let's put it into real dollars. And why do people take, like I said this already, why do people take it at age 62? They just don't know any better. No one's telling them like, hey, this is not a good idea. Short term, yes, you have money in your pocket. Long term, it's really going to impact you and your retirement income strategy. So we have a couple of options here. At 67, let's just assume at 67, your Social Security payment would be $3,000 a month. So that's $36,000 a year. I like working with even numbers, right? Because I don't like doing math in my head. As much as I love math, I don't like doing it in my head. So let's use easy numbers. $3,000 a month, $36,000 a year if my benefit at 67 is $3,000 a month. However, if I'm 62 and decide, I don't feel like waiting until 67, I'm going to turn it on at 62. Now that benefit, instead of $3,000 a month, is going to be $2,100 a month, $900 a month less. Now, instead of $36,000 a year, it's now $25,200 per year. Multiply that. That's a $10,800 difference in per year if I had waited to age 67. So over 10 years, that's $108,000 less in Social Security benefits that I'm receiving. Over 20 years, that's $216,000 less benefits that I'm receiving because I'm getting that haircut. Now, granted, yes, you're getting it earlier and you can spend it earlier, but a lot of people really need that money later on in life. Your health expenses get higher. You're not getting pay raises like you would have in, when you were working for an actual paycheck. Now you're getting what we call the play check. Tom Hegna coined that phrase. And I love that phrase. You go from a paycheck to a play check, and Social Security is kind of that play check. But if you can delay it, you get a lot more money in your pocket when you need it. So age 67, you're going to get that full benefit. That's going to be $36,000 a year. Obviously, if I take it at 62, it's only $25,200 a year, which is $10,800 less per year. So I don't think that's a great idea. Now, the only time I do think that's an okay idea, but this would be something where we'd have to talk it through, is if there is a major health situation where your longevity is just not there. In those cases, it makes sense, right? But for most other people, you're going to need every dollar you can get your hands on in retirement. So just to make your lifestyle a little bit better, keeping up with inflation, things like that. So this is where I would do that to have the strategy in place to make the money last a little bit longer and make your lifestyle a little bit better. Now, another option is if you're a patient person, not many people are patient for this. Remember I said your full retirement age, 67, that's when you get your full benefit. You also have the option of waiting until you're 70. Okay. So you're like, oh, 67, I'm still working, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm not going to turn my benefit on. But here's what's going to happen. Your benefit's still going to keep growing. So it's going to grow by 8% per year. So if you wait till age 70, that's 24% increase in your benefit that you're going to get. So instead of $3,000 a month, you're now getting $3,720 a month, which is going to be $44,640 per year, which gives you an additional $8,640 per year. And easy math times 10 years, that's an additional 86 grand over that time frame. If you live till 90, another 20 years, that's going to be $172,800. So there's reasons to do that when you're in a financial situation where you can do that. That's great. Where I see that being used is with spouses. So say you have husband and wife, and you have one spouse who is more of a breadwinner than the other, or even if one of them, you're similar pays. If one of you is able to defer to age 70, spouse A takes their benefit at 67. The spouse who is expecting more of a Social Security benefit waits to age 70, and that way they get 24% more, right? If they do that, then that helps the couple together raise the ship a little bit as far as their retirement income. And that actually really works very well too in those situations. So that is where I would spend some time with someone like myself or another financial planner who really does get into Social Security. Like, how does that work? What does that mean? If I take it at 67 and my partner takes it at 70, what more could that do for us? And the other thing that it does for you is, again, let's just assume that the higher Social Security benefit person is also older, or we'll just assume that they are more likely to pass away before the lower Social Security benefit person. Well, what happens at death is spouse A, who took Social Security at 67, and let's just again assume they're at 3,000, but their spouse waited to age 70, and their benefits at $3,720 per year. What happens at death is spouse A steps into spouse B's Social Security. That's the survivor benefit. So they don't get both, right? We know that they don't get both, but they can step into theirs, so they get a pay raise, which is not really a great consolation prize when you're losing your spouse, but you're going from 2 Social Security payments down to 1, so at least you get the higher benefit to help pay for things. So that's something that definitely does help people as far as strategizing the Social Security benefits. So that is one of my favorite things to talk about with people, because so many people get it wrong. I don't know if that's the right terminology, or just don't know any better, to wait or delay or split the strategy, like where I take it at 67 and you take it at 70, and it helps both of us over the long term. Or you both wait till 70, depending on your financial situation. But again, you get more money if you're able to do that. All right. So I will stop beating my horse, because I do tend to do that a little bit with Social Security. The other thing I'm going to talk about is the cost of living numbers for 2026. So if you're still working, you're looking at, how much, is my income going to be taxed or Social Security? Your maximum taxable earnings this year are $184,500. Okay. So up to that point, you will have Social Security taxes withdrawn or withheld from your paycheck. If that same number, however, doesn't apply for Medicare. Medicare, you have no limit on what they'll withhold the Medicare tax for. So, if you make 184.5, they're taking Medicare tax. If you make $300,000, they're taking Medicare tax. So the only cutoff is the Social Security tax, which is a little bit of a haircut. And that's because, you have a maximum amount that you can make with Social Security. And let's talk about that. The maximum amounts this year for your retirement benefits are at age 62, the maximum benefit is $2,969. At age 67, remember, we're assuming that's our full retirement age because we were born in 1960 or after. Our benefit at full retirement age is $4,152. That's the maximum. That doesn't mean you're getting it. You have to, obviously have paid into and have very high earnings, but that's the maximum benefit for Social Security benefits this year for full retirement age. And again, same thing with age 62. That's the maximum benefit. Maximum benefit for somebody turning 70 this year is $5,181. So you can see you go from 2,969 to 4,152. Then you go up to $5,181. So you can see the stepping stone there for, just waiting. It pays to wait. It's kind of like that old Heinz commercial, Heinz ketchup, anticipation. It's making me wait, but it's so good. I'm sorry. These quirky things just pop in my head and I say them and I can't help myself. But if you're my age, you get it. All right. So the other thing, here's where the rub is. The average monthly benefit for the retired worker is $2,071. So that means that, they either took it early or, they didn't have the earnings in there, but, they're not getting the maximum. Like we said, the maximum was $4,152. The average monthly benefit for a retired worker is $2,071. The average monthly benefit for a widow is $1,919. That's really a small amount. And then the average monthly benefit for a retired couple is $3,089. So that amount for a couple is even less than what a full retirement age maximum benefit is this year. And some of that could be attributed to the fact that people are taking their Social Security too early. So just keep that in line with what you're thinking about and strategizing when you should take your Social Security. And then I think the last thing I'll talk about today is kind of going in line with not taking that Social Security too early is the earnings test for Social Security taxability. So if you earn money once you're over 67 or your full retirement age, if you're, born in 1959, it doesn't matter what you make as far as, well, taxability. Yeah, it does matter, but I'm sorry. I'm talking about what you give back. You don't have a earnings limit. If you're full retirement age, you can make whatever you want. Like you could still be working and collecting your Social Security. But if you're below your full retirement age and you're working, you have to stay within a certain income range. So that's, again, another reason to just delay the Social Security if you're working. So in 2026, the earnings limit is $24,480 per year, which would be $2,040 per month. So if you make more than that, you are going to give back $1 of benefits for every $2 of earnings above that limit. So you're basically giving money back to Uncle Sam. So does it make sense to really turn that benefit on? Probably not. The other thing is the year that you turn full retirement age, there's also a different limit. That year you can make up to $65,160 or $5,430 per month. Now, in that year, you have a withholding or a give back of $1 in benefits for every $3 in earnings above that limit. So the kicker is, though, the day after your full retirement age, there are no earnings limits as far as giving benefits back. You can make whatever you want to make. and still get your full benefit that you're, entitled to. So those are important things to know about Social Security. I am going to do another Social Security EDU, whatever, in 2 weeks, because it'll still be April. So I get to talk about Social Security twice this month. And so we'll talk a little bit more about maybe divorce situations for former spouses. But in the meantime, I think our call to action is develop a strategy for your Social Security benefits, not just like, oh, I'm 62, I should turn it on. Talk to somebody about it. Talk to somebody who's educated about it and develop a strategy so you can maximize the most out of your Social Security benefits. And with that, I'm Regina McCann Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management. My website is forgewealth.com. And you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Forge Wealth, and LinkedIn, Regina McCann Hess. Go make it a great day. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Women in Wealth podcast. You can watch the founder's video I created for you to learn more about me and how I can guide you towards your financial independence at www.forgewealth.com. The information in this podcast is educational and general in nature and does not take into consideration the listener's personal circumstances. Therefore, it is not intended to be a substitute for specific individualized financial, legal, or tax advice. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a final decision. Securities are offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, and SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and Forge Wealth Management are separate entities from the LPL Financial. Our show guests and their companies are not affiliated with nor endorsed by LPL Financial, Private Advisor Group, or Forge Wealth Management.